Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Anil Joshi, Professor of Radiology. We are in the series that is Learn Radiology with Dr. Anil Joshi. Today's topic is based on the COVID, that is the COVID imaging. We are going to concentrate only on CT and X-ray images, and we are going to see whether how they are going to help a clinician in one is diagnosis, and second is to change in treatment, or third is the progress of disease. Whether these modalities can really help in these matters, we are going to see in today's lecture. At the beginning, I have to disclose an acknowledgement as well as disclaimers for certain things. As far as all the images are concerned, that is whether it is CT or whether it is X-ray, they are our own and it has come from our routine reporting. However, the theoretical discussions, theoretical aspects of the COVID, we have taken the help of what is available on the net free of cost and royalty free. We acknowledge with thanks from whom the material has come. The second thing is, this is our personal opinion and our personal interpretation of the images. We do not claim that it is ultimate or the best possible. Neither we expect anybody to use it for the medical legal or any other purposes. After this disclosure, we'll go now to the lecture topic, that is the COVID imaging. This is a part 2 of the imaging. In part 1, we have seen more theoretical aspects as well as more of the radiological patterns. In this, the aim of this second lecture is to go for a film reading session. We are going to have many X-rays, many patients in different illustrations, and we are going to see how images we can come to a conclusion, as well as we have come to a level of seriousness, level of grading, as far as CT score. That all we are going to see in this lecture, and we are going to interpret with the help of images. We are going to have a lot of patients and a lot of images to follow this lecture, and basic idea of this lecture is to give you idea in how many different ways a COVID can manifest. Though it is considered that it has got fixed pattern, however, there is a possibility that multiple patterns can overlap or sometimes can get super infected. So we have to decide all these factors before arriving to a conclusion. Now, some gross ideas about what COVID-19 and what is SARS-CoV-2, that is what is it called, SARS-CoV refers to severe acute respiratory syndrome, that is coronavirus, to which was announced by ICTV, that is International Committee on Taxonomy and Viruses. That is the International Committee on Taxonomy and Viruses. As the name of two viruses, in February, the name has come as the COVID-19, that is in February 2020. This name was chosen because the virus is generally related to the coronavirus responsible for SARS outbreak in 2003, while related to two viruses are different. Now, COVID-19 is a name of this new disease announced in 11 February 2020, following the guideline previous developed with the World Organization for the Animal Health and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Now, brief introduction about the coronaviruses. Coronavirus are a large family of viruses that has illness ranging from the common cold to the severe disease like Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, that is MERS, and Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, that is SARS. Now, anomyviruses is a new strain that has not been previously identified in human. Coronaviruses are zoonotic, meaning they are transmitted between the animals and people. Detailed investigations found that SARS was transmitted from the salivate cats to human, and MERS-CoV from dormitory meals to the human. Now, several known coronaviruses are circulating in the animals that have not yet infected human beings. So there is no transmission from animals to the human being. Imaging is not routinely indicated in suspected COVID-19 with mild symptoms. So again I repeat, if symptoms are mild, there is no need of any imaging in COVID-19 patients. Imaging is only indicated in patients with COVID-19 showing worsening or respiratory status. So when a line of treatment changes because of the progress of disease, imaging is indicated. Source: constrained environmental, that is lack of RT-PCR. If the RT-PCR is not available readily, imaging is indicated for medical triage of patient with suspected COVID-19 who represent with moderate to severe clinical features and a high pre-test probability of disease. So patient is seen clinically, a grading is done clinically, and if there is a high suspicion of COVID and if RT-PCR is not readily available, as an alternative, the imaging can be considered because the reliability of CT as well as X-ray in this COVID patient. Now, what are the CT findings as predictor of the disease activity? Initial CT findings in COVID-19 cases include bilateral multilobar ground glass opacification with peripheral or posterior distribution, mainly in the lower lobes or less frequently in the middle lobe. Now, consolidation superimposed on GGO, that is ground glass opacities, as the initial imaging presentation is found in a smaller number of cases, mainly in the elderly population as well as in population where there are morbidities. Now, septal thickening, bronchiectasis, pleural thickening and subpleural involvement are some of the less common findings, mainly in the later stage of the diseases. So if we are, in other words, finding anything else than GGOs, we have to think of the progressive of the disease and more severeness of the disease. Now, pleural effusion, pericardial effusion, lymphadenopathy, cavitation, CT halocine and pneumothorax are some of the uncommon but possible findings seen with the disease progresses. So these are seen. However, they are in the later stage, number one. Number two, if patient gets super infected, these findings are seen, but they are not as much less common as it was thought, because we are finding in severe cases, these are there, as well as we are seeing in the mild cases also, pleural effusion or other CT halocines are positive. However, lymphadenopathy we have not seen very commonly. There is much overlap of CT patterns of COVID-19 with other viral pneumonias. So that we are going to see when we are going to see our film reading session subsequently in this lecture, that in further progress of the disease, there is overlapping of the symptoms, and in that, in addition to the COVID typical patterns, we are also going to get some of the atypical patterns. Now, as the disease progresses, can a CT or X-ray be a predictor for the disease progress? Now, that is what we are going to see now. Ill-defined bilateral alveolar consolidation with peripheral distribution. Number two, radiological worsening with affection of lower lobes, endotracheal lobes and central venous line may be required if oxygenation saturation drops. Now, these are clinically requirement when a radiologist summons that there is a deterioration of the patient, there is a worsening of the disease, there is a progressive of the disease as compared to the previous if we have got, or even if it is a first film, looking at the pattern itself, we can tell them, we can summon them that endotracheal intubation, central venous line may be required. So they should be prepared in a hospital for all these things. Now, bilateral alveolar consolidation is a main feature. Now, bilateral alveolar consolidation with panlobar affection. Bilateral alveolar consolidation with panlobar affection with typical radiological findings of ARDS. Now, role of CT findings. CT can play a role in assessing possibility and severity of disease, prediction of worsening, that is the progress of disease, then prediction of improvement. With treatment, if patient is improving or not can also be predicted by CT scan when we calculate a score, which we are going to see in this lecture subsequently. So we can calculate a score and we can predict improvement or deterioration of the patient. Problem solver in case of dilemma, that if we are not very sure whether it is the COVID or not, we are not very sure whether patient is improving or deteriorating, such problems can be solved. Such dilemma of the problem can be solved by the help of CT scan because of its typical appearances. Now, as we are seeing, first is ground glass pattern is the most common finding in COVID infection. It is the earliest sign that manifests. Isolated lesions are in the initial stage, but overall involvement is in subsequent stage. Now, there is a typical pattern in which a ground glass opacification is seen in a CT scan. They are usually unifocal in early stage. Now, they are bilateral, peripheral, but not in early phase of disease. The disease may present as a unifocal lesion, most commonly located in the inferior lobe of the right lung. So that is from where it starts. But often by the time we do imaging, we can see entire lung is involved. We can see certain portion of the lung involved, but it is very sure that first the peripheries are involved and then it progresses towards the central. Now the PCR test is usually positive for COVID-19 patients, and when we are finding a ground glass opacification, these patients by and large corresponds with positive RT-PCR test. Now, ground glass opacities can be widespread, bilateral, often symmetrical opacities showing posterior dominance. So, peripheral, posterior dominance, more towards lower lobe, starting with right side, are the features of ground glass opacification. Sometimes there are thickening of interlobar and intralobar lines in combination with the ground glass patterns. This is called as Krivy pattern, or this is called as crazy paving patterns. It is believed that this pattern is seen in somewhat a later stage. First is ground glass opacification. If we are seeing crazy paving, that means the disease has advanced little bit more. Now, a typical finding in the areas of ground glass is a widening of the vessel. The blood vessel which supplies this area gets widened. So this is one of the signs which can really appreciate on CT scan in many patients. Now there is traction bronchiectasis. Another common finding in the area of ground glass is the traction bronchiectasis. Now this will be shown with the help of arrows when we are going to see a film reading session. Now subpleural bands and architectural distortion are the subsequent stages. In some cases, there is architectural distortion with formation of some pleural bands. These bands are appreciated in CT scan more than in X-rays. However, in X-rays also these subpleural bands are identified, and they are really pathognomonic or fairly suggestive or fairly reliable as far as COVID is concerned. Now, airway obstruction in radiology, Treiband sign is a finding on CT that indicates some degree of airway obstruction. So, tree in bud, if we see, that indicates some degree of airway obstruction. Tree in bud is a non-specific imaging finding that implies impaction, then bronchioles, the smallest airway passage in the lung. Now here we are going to see how a tree bud looks like. It's a non-specific finding. There is impaction of bronchiole and there is affection of the smallest airway passage in the lung when we see a tree in bud appearance. Now, is that tree in bud appearance is only seen in COVID? No. Tree in bud appearance can also be seen in endotracheal tuberculosis, in asthma, then bronchoalveolar carcinoma, these are the differential when we see a tree in bud sign. It is very important to know not only one sign, but what are the another features we are seeing, and overall we have to make combination of all these things to come to a correct conclusion whether COVID-19 is present. Because not a single finding of the COVID is pathognomonic, but when we see them together, definitely we can come to a fairly good or reliable conclusion and help clinician in both ways to assess the severity as well as to assess the prognosis. Now here we are going to see a tree bud appearance. Now in tree bud appearance, what are the anatomical structures involved? That is the terminal bronchiole, then respiratory bronchiole and alveolar duct. These are the three components of the terminal airway. They are involved when we are talking of the tree in bud appearance. Coming to additional features like typical pattern of acute ground loss opacities, then consolidation, then interlobar or intralobar septal thickening. When all these things are seen, we have got no hesitation in calling that this is a COVID-19 infection. Then typical distribution is bilateral, multifocal, peripheral and predominant. Repeatedly we are saying all these things because they are important when we are going to see a film reading session. Now when to consider differential diagnosis, we are seeing all these things, but there are conditions when we are going to also see a differential diagnosis. Now which are these which we can call as atypical COVID-19 findings? That clinical finding, patient has got symptoms for more than 1 month. If patient has got more than 1 month clinical symptoms, if we are seeing these patterns also, then we have to think not only that this could be a fresh infection, but a repetition of infection, and we have to think of a differential diagnosis. If the lesions are not typical, they are not following the COVID pattern, then we have to think of the differential diagnosis. So also, when there are well-defined solid nodules and masses. Now, though it is seen that in these conditions, we think of chronicity and less likely possibility of COVID, will be coming up a lot of cases when we are going to go on film reading session where we are going to find a nodule and inflammatory mass, but they are coexisting along with the COVID lesions. So there will be more importance for overall appearance than any single appearance. Then is bronchiolitis, then focal dense consolidations, diffuse ground glass with peri-bronchovascular distribution, then fibrotic features like honeycombing, traction bronchiectasis. The most important thing is COVID is a acute process. It's a process of short duration. So whatever are the signs associated with chronicity like fibrotic features, honeycombing, traction bronchiectasis, by and large do not occur because of COVID. However, patients who already have all these things, a COVID infection can be there. So COVID infection, if we find all these things, not necessarily COVID has caused it, but patient had already all these things and then he had catch the infection. Now, no definite findings can definitely confirm or exclude COVID-19. CC sensitivity is high as far as 88 to 97% depending on the patterns it shows, and depending on the other than pattern, what are the findings in the chest CT, they are going to decide the sensitivity and level of confidence. But it has got low specificity, as low as 25%. But by and large, CT is fairly relatively safe. Though we say the specificity is as low as 25%, with more and more experiences we are getting, more and more cases we are getting, I think definitely the specificity is more than 25%. To maximize utility of CT, one needs to assess. Now what are these? Clinical context of the symptoms, onset of the symptoms, in relation to date of imaging, alternative explanations and comorbidities, they are very important. Pre-test probabilities, current prevalence of COVID-19, where you are is most important to find, which depends on your teamwork and your own results of your institutes. Whether CT findings are acute, then also comparison with the prior CTs. If we have got any that is more or less 1 month or less than 1 month is very much helpful. Any follow-up, whether the X-ray, CT scan, whether it is done 1 month before or maybe in immediate past, is extremely important because the progress of the COVID can be judged by a CT finding. In the appropriate clinical settings, that is high pre-test probabilities, typical chest CT findings are sensitive and can be moderately specific for diagnosis of COVID-19 associated pneumonias. So chest CT is helpful to assess differential diagnosis and explain factors contributing to the clinical presentation. Now, chest CT guides management in complex scenarios and clinical deteriorations. Prognostic also, initial publications suggest semi-quantitative CT score are one of many predictor of mortality. So, more is the score, more is the morbidity. Now, is that the CT is the only investigation of choice or only investigation that we should perform? The answer is no. We have also got X-rays. Now, X-rays are useful, but their use has to be selective. Not at all stages X-rays are specific or diagnostic, but if we use them judiciously, especially in compared to patients' symptomatology, whether he has got severe symptoms, he has got mild symptoms, or he has got moderate symptoms, he had earlier any comorbidities, all these things, if we consider together, fine, X-ray works as a really good investigation of choice in mild cases. Now let us go to another advantages of it. Now blood tests are really costly. Blood test takes time to conduct from 1 hour to 5 hours as per patient's workload and as per the institutes. Now, extent of the spread can be detected by X-rays, which is definitely not predicted by RT-PCR. Now, build deep learning models. Now, can be classified using imaging classification as models and segmentation techniques. Now, data set is available. So that is all advantages when CT is used, but when X-ray is also used, whatever we have seen just now are the advantages, or it can also plays an important role. Now let's see what we see in a chest radiograph. Chest film is sensitive in early diseases. Here a comparison of chest radiograph and CT images are shown in our illustrations, which will give you an idea that X-rays and CT can play a parallel role. The ground loss opacities in the right lower lobe of the CT are not visible on the chest radiograph, which was taken 1 hour prior to the CT study. This slide is to be removed. Chest radiograph slide is to be removed. Chest radiograph slide is to be removed from the beginning. Please remove chest radiography slides. Another advantage of chest film is it can be useful in follow-up of the disease. That is to know a prognosis worsening or that status is same. That can be predicted by chest X-ray. These chest X-rays are of, please remove this slide also. 2 slides, this and earlier slides are to be removed. This slide along with earlier slide are to be. Let us see whether chest CT when done and RT-PCR is also done. Often it is done that first a chest CT is done before the RT-PCR test since RT-PCR takes longer time versus chest CT, the interpretation can be instantaneous. So a stage comes when we have got both the report, CT as well as RT-PCR. Now it may happen that RT-PCR is negative and chest is positive, or also it can happen that RT-PCR is positive and chest CT is negative. Now trust the CT scan and assume patient is COVID-19 positive when RT-PCR is positive and CT is showing changes of COVID-19. In other words, if RT-PCR is negative, if clinically you are suspecting COVID, go for the chest CT. Number 2, repeat RT-PCR after 2 to 3 days. Now let us have a comparison between chest X-rays and CT. How to use chest CT for COVID-19 diagnosis and predict the prognosis is the chest X-ray is more sensitive for COVID-19 diagnosis than the CT is more sensitive than chest X-ray. Why? Chest X-ray may remain normal for first 4 to 5 days. That means if symptoms are of 4 to 5 days duration and if chest X-ray comes negative, do not mean patient do not have a COVID infection. Patient can still have COVID infection because it takes 4 to 5 days to get chest X-ray positive for the COVID findings. Now CT scan shows typical pattern of ground glass opacities and consolidation. Therefore, CT scan should be performed unless patient cannot be moved. If we have to really take a decision, whether to hospitalize a patient or not, whether to quarantine patient or not, whether to change the management of treatment or not, a CT finding is essential and it is must. Now CT scan should be performed unless patient cannot be moved. If patient is on respirator or if patient is not as fit to carry to the radiology department, then portable X-ray serves the purpose. Patient in ICU, chest X-ray is preferred unless complications are suspected. Now a stage comes where the diagnosis is more important. The risk is taken to shift patient to the radiology department and to get the chest CT done, but that is only when you are suspecting a complication, only when your treatment is going to change or management is going to change as per the CT findings. Now, what are the clinical indications for HRCT? First, 7 to 8 days, then repeat at 14 to 15 days. So, by and large, CT scan may be at the onset, maybe when RT-PCR is positive or negative, but they are mandatory on the day 7 to 8 and day 14 to 15. In these 2 days, 2 CT scan has to be there so that they can give a predictor. Now consider additional CT depending on the clinical evaluation to exclude potential complication. Now let us come to reporting of the COVID imaging. Now there is a specific pattern developed for reporting of COVID-19 patients. Now what they have got? First let us come to the chest CT report format for the COVID. One must mention duration of the symptoms, as it was clearly mentioned that on different days the findings may change. On different days there may be a positive sign or a negative sign. On different days there will be complications or not complications. So duration of symptom has to be informed by clinician, or else we should take the history from the patient and it needs to be written on the report. One is duration of the symptoms, second is description of CT findings, no CORAD score, CT severity score, and a conclusion. Now let us see one after another. We have seen clinical, now let us go to the technique. Now it is a plain study, plain axial high resolution CT of the chest to be performed with the help of at least 16 slice CT scanner. Then section should be continuous from thoracic inlet to the base of the lungs, and documentation in the soft tissues and the laying window settings, it has to be there. Now, we have to take practically sections up to the end of liver, that is lower part of liver, maybe upper portion of the kidneys. That includes almost the entire liver, that includes the pancreas, and that includes the spleen. Now, often we find the pathologies in these areas. Maybe we'll find some gallstones, we will maybe find some liver cyst, we may be finding something in the some portion of kidney that is seen. And if that is seen, we should extend the section slightly more where we are stopped. So it is important that not only chest but some part of upper abdomen should also be included, and that we'll see in our film reading session what are the different pathologies we can pick when the HRCT is done for the COVID patients. Now what we find? We find in lung bilateral diffuse peripheral lesions with non-lobar and subpleural distribution showing ground glass opacification. Now out of these words, certain can be used, certain can be eliminated. This is a format we are showing you which will help you to generate your own system of reporting. Now opacities, craving patterns, this should also be reported. Now the consolidation changes are noted in both lungs or single lungs. If it is in both lungs, we should mention both lungs. Then it is certain lobes, we should specify lobes. Then history of bronchiectasis, honeycombing, the seen or not has to be mentioned. Then by and large, there is no evidence of enlarged mediastinal, axillary, supra, retrosternal lymphadenopathy. Then tracheobronchial tree is by and large normal, but in certain cases we should get attraction changes in bronchiole or distortion of bronchiole. Then mediastinal vasculature by and large is not affected in COVID patients, so that needs to be mentioned. And superior aspect of liver, spleen, that also we have to mention. Then ribs, if we can find any gross abnormalities, we should mention. Then spine, significant changes, any fractures. Now in heart, if we have got something like calcification of aorta, unfolded aorta, often we find some associated mediastinal anomalies. So all these things has to be documented. Now here we are going to talk the score, that is 25/60. In that, the lungs on either side are divided as right, upper, middle and lower, left, upper and lower. By and large, lingula is not taken in this score. So in that, according to the involvement, according to percentage, you can write as 5%. Then if it is 5%, then your score will differ. If it is 5 to 25, then your score will be differing, that is 2, 25 to 30, then it will go to 3, then so on and so forth, with maximum of more than 75, that is 5. So 25/25 means entire two lungs, all lobes are involved. Now how we to write the conclusion? The findings are suggestive of viral pneumonitis. That is the first line we have to write. Then possibility of COVID-19 infection, we have to go into detail of what is level of suspicion. Now level of suspicion, that is that ranges from 1 to 6. 6 is a RT-PCR proved case. So when we put or when we report for RT-PCR case, it has to be CORAD 6. Now if RT-PCR test is not available, we are very confident about the COVID, then we can go up to 5. And if indeterminate, that is 3 is when we are not very sure, and less than 3 is when we are finding atypical lesions which are not typical with COVID. In that case, you will have to advise a follow-up scan. Maybe in initial stage, your appearances may not be characteristic, but subsequently if you do with follow-up scan, then you may land or you may get it a high level, that is 4 or 5. Now CT score, 5 indicate mildly infected, then we have got mild, moderate and severely infected patients. Then pleural thickening effusion, if it is there, you have to mention about it. Then mediastinal lymphadenopathy, if it is there, needs to be mentioned. Now, what is a level of suspicion for pulmonary involvement of COVID-19. And what is its significance? Now let us see what is the meaning of CORAD 0. If a radiologist writes on the report CORAD 0, what does it mean? It is non-interpretable. That means that study is technically not correct. We should not comment either positivity or negativity if the scan is suboptimal, because many patients are with acute breathlessness or with irritability. So scan may not be appropriate and they may be non-interpretable. In that case, we should report it as the CORAD 0. Now there is very low suspicion of the COVID being present. Then 2 is low possibility. Then 3 is equivocal, indeterminate features that you're not sure, but you may think more favors the CORAD appearances, that is the COVID-19 appearances. So in that case, you should write as the CORAD 3. Now what is CORAD 4? There is a high suspicion. High suspicion, where we mean, is on CT scan or on X-ray. So a radiologist is confident he has got high suspicion, then we should write it as the CORAD 4. CORAD 5 is practically pathognomonic as far as imaging is concerned. In that way, we should write 5 and it is a typical COVID. COVID 6 is reserved for RT-PCR positive patients or confirmed cases of COVID-19. Now what is area involved and their scoring pattern? If any lobe of the lung is involved more than 5%, less than 5%, we call this as a score 1. If the involvement of lobe is more than 5 and less than 25, we score it as 2. If it is more than 25 and less than 50, it is scored as 3. And more than 50 and less than 75 is scored as 4. And more than 75 is score 5. Now, you have calculated score. If the score comes as less than 8, you put them as a mild. If the score comes as 9 to 15, you put them as moderate. And if score comes as more than 15, you put them as severe. Now with this, we are coming to end of our part 2 lecture. Part 1 lecture gives you brief idea theoretically. Part 2 gives you more of a preliminary reading session. We have mentioned that wherever you want to pause, you can pause the video and have a closer look at the images. Do your own interpretations, because each image do not have one appearance. Each image is a mixture or combination of multiple COVID signs of COVID, signs of comorbidity, as well as signs of superinfections. infections. So it is very important to make clinician aware about all these things. And radiologist, if does carefully the reading, interpretation and observations of the either CT or X-ray, whatever has been a method of choice for a clinician, that will give patient a great boost and that will definitely reduce mortality of COVID, which is rapidly falling from 3% now to less than 1% in many areas. And it's all because of the rapid diagnosis, precise diagnosis, starting accurate treatment, finding appropriate medicines, vaccinations, and a teamwork by a clinician and radiologist. And that is what we really aim to learn and to teach and to observe and to make our own interpretation as well as any disease, whether new or old, their patterns are concerned, and to give our best benefits to the patient, and they can be benefited, we can reduce the mortality, and that is what the aim of all these things is. With this, I thank you for giving me your valuable time. Please note, radiology is not a race, it's a process. Be a part of it and enjoy the feast of knowledge. So knowledge is forever. Diseases are changing the pattern. We have to adapt ourselves to know the disease pattern and to diagnose them precisely to benefit the patient. With this, I am Dr. Anil Joshi logging off till we meet again. I hope you will make best use of the knowledge. You will have your own interpretation method. You will have your own analytic method. And you will do your best to put the needy patients to reduce the mortality and mortality.